What is your personal stance on embryonic stem cell research?
As a scientist, of course, I believe in research. I believe that research should be done on cells, whether they came from an embryo, from a fetus, or from a newborn, even from an adult. And I think the question comes down to, when does life begin? Because much of the research that's being done in the United States is funded by federal monies, and those monies come from tax dollars. And there are people who pay their tax dollars and wonder, how is my money being used? And there are many people who feel very strongly that life begins at the time of conception. And so they don't agree that the money that they're paying in their taxes should be used on cells or embryos that were taken from something that they considered alive. They actually consider that to be killing a person. And I think that's where the controversy comes down to, as to when do you think life begins? Because if a person has a very strong opinion as to when life begins, then their opinion of embryonic stem research would be either this is a living being or these are just cells growing.
And so, as far as pros and cons for embryonic stem cell research, what are your thoughts on that?
As the embryo is growing, the cells divide, and as they divide, they become what we call specialized or differentiated. They become all of the cells of the body, all the different tissues and organs. And so as we grow and develop, most of our cells have already become specialized, and so there's very limited research that we can do on those cells, either as a child or as an adult. And so, of course, I'd be very much in favor of research on adult cells, but unfortunately those cells have a certain lifespan. There's not much that they can do. And so by studying embryonic cells, those cells are much younger, they have more potential, and there's a lot that we can actually study in them. And so because of that, I feel like much of the research that's done in embryos can provide answers to questions that we can't find using adult cells. For example, think about the development of the nervous system. The nervous system develops very early on during development, and as a result of that, then any changes that occur later on, you can't go back and fix. But if you can go and study the cells in the embryos as the nervous system is developing, you may be able to find answers to questions that otherwise you couldn't find. Think about things like Parkinson's or neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's disease or other senility disorders. The potential really lies in studying embryonic cells before they've made the specialization and becoming special cells, that we could actually find answers to those questions.